Michel Ardon. Looks like I'm not the only one who suffered a shock. This man seems utterly knocked out. Let me see. I'm pretty sure I know him. It's Barbicane, the president of the gun club, and the man at the origin of the Columbiad project.
Baltimore, October 5th, 1865. Barbicane, president of the gun club, proposes an undertaking worthy of the 19th century to build a giant cannon capable of shooting at an incredibly distant objective.
It's Barbicane, the president. An unconscious man. I recognize him. It's Captain Nickel, a famous engineer.
Captain Nickel, a specialist in armor plating, is known for his rivalry with Barbicane, an artillery expert. Nickel claims that the gun club's project is impossible. Furious, Barbicane challenges him to a duel.
It's a newspaper clipping. Hey, the article talks about me.
Michel Ardon, famous French adventurer, volunteers to travel in the aluminum shell designed by President Barbicane. Michel Ardon manages to reconcile Nickel and Barbicane. "Since you're the kind of men who dare risk their lives," he says, "accompany me. You'll have front row seats to see which of you is right." So in the end, the shell is loaded in the giant cannon with 3 men on board. Baltimore, October 5th, 1865. Barbicane, president of the gun club, proposes an undertaking.
It's jammed. It's Barbicane. It's jammed. Good Lord! That blue star, it's the Earth. I'm in outer space.
An enormous explosion tears the shell from the Earth's gravitational pull. Destination, the moon. On board, all the passengers have fallen unconscious.
Everything's coming back to me now. the cannon, the shell. We actually left Earth. Fantastic. We're on our way to the moon. Nickel, Barbicane, and me. I seem to be the first to ever regain consciousness. I'd better wake up the others. What's this dark stain that's spreading? Is my friend injured?
Michel Ardan briskly raises the blanket covering his friend.
My lord. I thought Barbicane was just unconscious, but he's dead. And it's not the G-forces at the launch that killed him, but a bullet right through the heart. What happened? I've got to understand just what happened. This cupboard is locked. This bottle contains a disinfectant lotion made with cyan. What do you know? Traces on the glasses show that Barbicane and Nickel served themselves a drink.
Barbicane and Nickel toast each other.
I'd better not touch this glass.
Under the cover, Nickel is no longer breathing. He's as dead as Barbicane, but there's no visible injury.
I've lost both my friends. I'm all alone here. This rifle smells of powder. It's been fired recently.
Nickel's shot kills Barbicane. A fitting death for the president of the gun club. When he comes to, Ardan first thinks that Barbicane and Nickel have fainted because of the violence of the launch. He soon realizes that both of his friends are dead and swears to find out exactly what happened to them.
Should I search in the papers of my friend? It's indiscreet. This is Nickel's wallet. What's it contain that's interesting? Ah, so this is what a love letter looks like. My valiant captain, if you wanted, yes, if you so desired, we could leave together for that destination which fills my every thought. The letter is signed Diana. I'm suffocating. I'd better do something or I'm gonna be in a pickle. A monograph on lunar ideograms. This is Nickel, my valiant captain. The letter is... I'm almost a... While cutting up Barbicane's hat, I found a letter signed Diana in the lining. It must be confidential if my friend took the trouble to hide it this way. Let's take a look. Sir, I will not seek any other excuse for my behavior than my passionate desire to visit the moon and to meet its inhabitants, who I know for a fact exist. When it turned out that such a journey was possible, I would have given my all to participate. Nothing else was important in my eyes. Yes, I dreamed that you would love me and that I would go with you to the moon. When I realized this was an illusion, I tried, out of spite, to seduce Captain Nickel. I wanted him to hide me in the shell, a stowaway. But Nickel proved as stubborn as you, and I was left alone with nothing but my shame. I do hope that you will pardon me, and beg of you to keep this confession secret, as it would utterly destroy my reputation were it to fall into the wrong hands. Farewell, sir. And when you are on the moon, please think kindly of one who would so love to have accompanied you. So, This Diana tried to seduce Barbicane, then Nickel, in the hope of taking off for the moon? Poor girl. The hearts of human beings are sometimes moved by strange passions.
The old rivalry between Barbicane the gunner and Nickel the armorer is a fact. Furthermore, letters found on the two men seem to indicate that they were loved by the same woman, a certain Diana. Weren't there enough elements to rekindle the flames of a scarcely extinguished dispute? The hypothesis of a quarrel provoked by a woman doesn't resist serious examination. A letter concealed in Barbicane's hat clearly demonstrates that Diana's advances were firmly refused by both men.
This letter is the last message my friend Barbicane wrote to me. Michel. Fate dictated that Nickel and I awaken before you. We quickly realized that due to tragic negligence, we wouldn't have enough oxygen for 3. The letter is torn. The rest...
After the shock of launch, President Barbicane and Captain Nickel are the first to regain consciousness. While Ardent is still out cold, the two men realize that because of their negligence, their oxygen supply is insufficient for 3 men. One alone could survive.
Hey, here's the rooster I smuggled on board. I had hidden this handsome specimen of Gallinaceae under the bench to play a joke on Nickel and Barbicane. Once on the moon, I would have set the animal free outside the shell without saying anything to my friends. What a shock they would have had when they saw this terrestrial poultry perched on some lunar peak. Rooster, my friend, I see you got loose of the string got attached to your foot. Very good. There's no longer any reason for you to stay hidden since we're all alone on board.
A disconcerting, if predictable, event takes place on board the shell. When the projectile reaches the point at which the gravitational attraction of the Earth and the Moon are in equilibrium in the air. Amused by the experience at first, our hero suddenly notices that the potassium tank is not properly closed.
Good Lord, the potassium hydroxide is escaping and forming bubbles. I have to recover the liquid, or it will spill everywhere when weightlessness ends. I've got to catch all the potassium bubbles.
Michel Ardan has captured the last bubble just in time. Weightlessness comes to an end. He returns the potassium to its tank and closes it hermetically with an improvised cap.
Whew. The carbon dioxide level is going down. The potassium tank is filled and closed. I shouldn't have any more trouble with that.
The end of weightlessness indicates the shell is coming closer to the moon. If everything goes as planned, Ardent will soon land on its surface.
I'm very close to the moon. I'm practically grazing it. I'm going to make it. Oh no! I missed it! I can't see a thing. Am I in orbit behind the dark side, or adrift in the infinite void? No more sun, no more heat. All right, it's very possible that my capsule is lost in space, but let's be positive about this. Besides dying, what other misfortune could happen to me? And death is just one more journey. piece of paper, ripped up and burned.
The rifle shot scares the rooster that Michel Ardan had hidden in the shell. The frightened animal rips with his claws part of the letter Barbicane has in his hand. The paper catches fire when the frantic movements of the bird carry it above the gas burner.
With a bit of string, I could tie this blanket around my friend to serve as a shroud. Then I could abandon his body in the vacuum of space. If the ocean serves as a sailor's grave, it's only fitting that space be the tomb of an interplanetary traveler. A strange smell is emanating from Nichols' face. An odor of bitter almond.
Nichols swallows the cyanide, a quick-acting poison smelling of bitter almond.
By heating this burned paper slightly, the letters that were written on it reappear, bright red. What I'm holding is the end of a letter Barbicane wrote. Discovering that our air supply would only be enough for one person, Nickel and I quickly agreed on what we would do. Together, we will undertake the grand journey into the other world. As for the trip to the moon, one of us alone will accomplish that. And, my brave Ardan, that man shall be you. Courageous friends, they gave their lives for me. I'm suffocating. I'd better...
When confronted with danger, real or imaginary differences couldn't prevent two representatives of the nation's elite from doing their duty. Without hesitation, Barbicane and Nickel decide to sacrifice themselves so that Michel Ardan might reach the moon. Barbicane decides to die by gunshot, Nickel through poison. The two men offer themselves a last drink. Nickel pours cyanide into his glass. It's understood that Nickel will shoot Barbicane before lying down himself to wait for the poison to take effect. The sequence of events is entirely reconstructed. Michel Ardan has closed his investigation.
Now I seem to be breathing better. With a bit of string, I could tie this blanket around... Well, now I can throw the body into space. I can't keep the window open for long, or the capsule will lose all its air.
A dazzling flash attracts Ardan's attention. The explosion of a meteor reveals the hidden face of the moon. The meteor's passage has altered the shell's trajectory. At last, the projectile begins its descent to the lunar surface.
To land successfully, I have to ignite my retro rockets.
Michel Ardan sends his friend's body into interplanetary space.
Well, now I can throw the body into space. I had to smash this barrel to open it. The shell is falling much too fast. It's overloaded. I've got to lighten her up.
The shell strikes the surface of the moon at such a high speed that...
Judging by the smell of it, this glass can... The shell is falling much too fast. It's...
Ardent has successfully lowered his speed. He sets down in the middle of the mountains in a cirque where the ground is covered with a strange blue snow. The shell slides and rolls down the slope of a glacier. This uncomfortable descent luckily comes to a halt just on the brink of a precipice. Outside, all is dark and quiet. It's still night at the foot of this mountain range, but lunar dawn will soon break. Ardent opens the door of the shell and closes it again right away. There's no air outside. So, does the moon not have an atmosphere? Ardent can't believe it. He didn't take a long trip like this to stay cooped up in an aluminum prison. But now the first rays of the sun arrive at the foot of the mountains. The blue snow starts to melt. For that matter, is it really snow that's boiling this way? No, it's solidified air which is defrosting in the heat of the day. While the atmosphere covers the ground with a denser and denser cloak, vegetation sprouts and grows at an extraordinary speed.
I should be able to go out now. So, my friend the rooster, are you happy to have made it to the moon? Hooray! The moon is mine! I think I'll explore this crater where chance has cast me, then I'll try to climb the surrounding mountains. Incredible brightly colored plants, diffuse light, pungent odors. What a vision! This is stranger than any poet's wildest dream. This is the stone that stopped my shell right at the edge of the precipice. It looks as if it were sculpted. Could there be intelligent life on the moon? What's that I hear? An insect? Where did that blasted bug go? I can't hear it anymore. A lunar... Whoop! Oops, I almost went over myself. I mustn't forget that I weigh 6 times less than on Earth. I can make some extraordinary leaps, but if I don't adjust my takeoff, I could break my neck. I feel splendid. I'm bursting with energy. My leaps will be that much easier. What a fantastic leap. It felt as if I were flying more than jumping. Here I am on a monument of dark stone in the middle of a crater shrouded in mist. What an extraordinary landscape. Good gosh, I recognize this piece of metal. This aluminum plate protected the window fitted into the floor of my shell. I unscrewed it shortly after launch, but there's no reason it would have remained static in the vacuum of space. Even though I detached it from the shell, it continued on its course and finally fell here. I might very well find all the objects I got rid of since leaving Earth. It must be money. Lunar money. A little fertile soil with water nearby. That makes you want to do some planting. Shells? Then there's an ocean on the moon, or there once was. I'll gather a little of this soft soil piled up in front of the rock and put it in the shell. The soil seems fertile. It makes me want to try growing things in pots. Hey, this plant wasn't there a few minutes ago. It grew at an unbelievable speed. Watch it. If I go forward, I'll be attacked. strange instrument. I think this organ needs to be supplied with both air and water to function. I've got it. I've got it. Good Lord, this object fell from... Another object fallen from... I've got enough. In this weak lunar gravity, my hybrid grapevine is growing as I watch it. I've got it. This vine is really practical. It lets me get around the collapsed part of the stairway. I've got enough. I can guess the meaning of this ideogram. This ideogram isn't hard to understand. That creature seems awfully nervous to me. It loves that. That was a good idea, but it's not enough. I have to deal with two plants of different varieties which are protecting each other. If I want to force my way by them, I'll have to scare both of them at the same time. I've got it. I've got. I've got. I've got. I've got enough. What is this scope for? Maybe it's only to help Selenite tourists admire the landscape. Now I understand the meaning of the inscription, "Pay and you'll see." Water is flowing to the right. Water is flowing to the right. Water is flowing to the left. It doesn't work. I've got to figure out a way to open the air supply. Oh, I'm back to normal. I feel weird. What do you know? Ah, that's a most welcome draft. The room smelled stuffy. The beings in this fresco probably belong to the curious. Apart from a few details, they resemble the primitive creature I met. Might the Selenites have degenerated since the period when they painted these frescoes? Could they have returned to a wild state? I want to know what lunar civilization has become. Neither gate nor door must be a barrier. I shall overcome obstacles and explore the mountain, neglecting nothing. I've got it. I feel weird. What do you know? Nothing like a nice glass of water to clean the stomach. A broken machine. Would I be able to fix it? Water is flowing to the left. It works. How bizarre, that creature just staying there without reacting. It's almost as if it were waiting for something.
As soon as the doors open, the lunar creatures rush through the opening to disappear in the depths.
The doors have stayed open. Should I take advantage of that to go through them? Either this creature is cataleptic or in a very deep sleep. I've got enough. It's impossible to go that way. There's burning smoke blocking the way. That yellowish gas with a stinging odor is chlorine. It could be of some use to me. These kinds of mushrooms explode when they touch the ground. Maybe I could catch them on the fly. I've got to find a way to make this elevator work. Now I understand that inscription. Mix the fruits of the Veracia and of the Meftia, partake of this nourishment, and you shall see the light. In other words, you shall discover that which is concealed. It's the Earth, the planet of my birth. Corpses of lunar beings. I'm in a necropolis. I'm locked in. See the Earth and die. That's how I would translate that inscription. I like to think that lunar pilgrims came to this place to worship the Earth. Once they accomplished the rites, they considered their existence fulfilled and lay down to die. As for me, I firmly intend to find a way to get out of here. But first, let's explore this necropolis. This sarcophagus is assembled from thin metal plates. With all due respect to the ancient Selenites, it bears a close resemblance to a tin can. I've opened the sarcophagus, but I broke my can opener. Human bones? What are they doing in a lunar necropolis?
The elevator carries Ardon far into the depths of the moon. A welcome committee is waiting for our traveler. Consumed with curiosity, Ardon discovers that these Selenites resemble those who had built the necropolis. So lunar civilization hadn't disappeared after all. Ardon doesn't have to be asked twice to follow his hosts. He is led to a room that would seem to be an office, where he is left alone with a Selenite dignitary. Well, Earthling. Disturbing the peace in our woods and countrysides wasn't enough for you? You even had to penetrate our mountains to sow discord and chaos?
But you speak my language.
Of course. As a dignitary of the Second Circle in the service of His Flamboyance, the Supreme Ruler, I can access a quantity of knowledge.
How did you learn that I came from Earth?
It's obvious. We Selenites have been acquainted with Earthlings for some time, and that's why we considered it prudent to place you under close surveillance. As soon as you got here, a tiny insect landed on your clothing. It keeps us constantly informed of your comings and goings. Don't bother removing it. We have a myriad of them at our beck and call. They fly everywhere and examine every new object they find, so nothing escapes us, neither on the surface or underground.
Oh, dignitary, it is hardly courteous to spy on foreign visitors.
You dare to speak to me of courtesy? You'd barely arrived when you were already guilty of throwing dangerous objects, pollution of the woods, and grave robbing? I conclude from this that you are a savage, scarcely evolved from the state of the lowest animals, like all Earthlings.
That's a very severe judgment.
Do you think so? The insect spy you're carrying around constantly measures your intelligence. To give you a lesson in modesty, I'm going to make your score visible to you. Your intelligence meter displays a value calculated by a method that is objectively Selenite. Upon your arrival, the score was so low that we hesitated to classify you among thinking beings. It's still not very brilliant, even if you've made some progress since then.
And yet, I managed to reach the moon, which requires planning and ingenuity.
Ha! We've forgotten more about interplanetary travel than Earthlings will ever know. Dug into our mountains, there is an antique space cannon. It shot hundreds of projectiles towards the Earth when your ancestors were barely starting to stand on their hind legs.
I grant you precedence. Nonetheless, it does require intelligence to travel from one planet to another.
Intelligence or luck? Approximate calculations and good luck might have led you here, but would you be able to accomplish the journey in the other direction? I doubt it.
Is that a challenge? I accept it. You think I'm incapable of returning to Earth? You'll see that in a short while, I'll have set up a regular line between my home planet and the moon. To organize my return trip, I need an action plan. I'll just take out my notebook to put things down clearly. What's this button for?
It turns on a reading screen used to teach our descendants when they've just hatched.
What's this machine for?
It's a harmonic educator. It enables you to practice your comprehension of spoken Selenite by memorizing the sounds regularly associated with our ideograms. You cannot profit from the harmonic educator if you don't know the fundamentals. You've decided to learn to read our writing? We'll see if you're able to. Ideograms will be displayed in front of you, Earthling. Try to guess their meaning. Correct. 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 You passed the test. To my great surprise, you've managed to master the fundamentals of our writing. If you're not afraid of cerebral overheating, work on understanding our spoken language by using the harmonic educator on your left.
What's this button for?
It's the request bell. It allows every Selenite to obtain a hierarchical key on a level corresponding to his merits.
What purpose do those keys serve?
Symbolically, they confirm the rank of the individual carrying one. From a practical point of view, they enable him to open doors, to use the elevator, to turn on certain machines.
But why all these locks? Are you afraid of thieves?
Not at all. Theft, in the sense you give to this word, is foreign to our mentality. Our codes and locks are there to keep out the ignorant and to reserve access to certain installations to the wise beings capable of taking advantage of them.
Very interesting. Could I obtain a high-level key?
I know that you already possess a level 0 key obtained in very dubious circumstances. If you think you deserve better, follow the normal procedure and ring the bell.
I need a key corresponding to my merit.
Your intelligence score is sufficiently high, but I can't grant a level 1.
I don't agree.
In my office, you'll find all the teaching aids you need. If you're incapable of using them to learn, you don't deserve a key. There's no point in renewing your request as long as you don't understand Selenite, both written and spoken.
I'm sure I could obtain a perfect score with practice.
And I think that perfect mastery of our noble language is beyond your capacity. But I won't prevent you from taking the test again. If you improve your score, you'll earn intelligence points.
I need a key corresponding to my...
I have to admit that your intelligence score is high enough, and you meet the necessary conditions. I've got no reason to refuse it to you.
Hey, who's singing like that in my ear? My own official spy is now going to become my guide. Well, why not? I'll take whatever help I can get.